Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naran Chaiva Narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavate Uttama-shloke Bhaktir-bhavati Naistiki. Today we are reading 8th Canto, Chapter 5, The Demigods Appeal to the Lord for Protection from text 41 to 50. 41. The Brahmanas and Vedic knowledge come from the mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Kshatriyas and bodily strength come from his arms. The Vaishyas and their expert knowledge in productivity and wealth comes from his thighs. And the Shudras, who are outside of the Vedic knowledge, come from his feet. May that Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is full of prowess, be pleased with us. Text 42. Greed is generated from his lower lip, affection from his upper lip, bodily luster from his nose, animalistic lusty desires from his sense of touch, Yamaraj from his eyebrows, and eternal time from his eyelashes. May that Supreme Lord be pleased with us. Text 43. All learned men say that the five elements, eternal time, fruitive activity, the three modes of material nature and the varieties produced by these modes are all creations of the Yoga Maya. This material world is therefore extremely difficult to understand, but those who are highly learned have rejected it. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the controller of everything, be pleased with us. Text 44. Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is completely silent, free from endeavor, and completely satisfied by his own achievements. He is not attached to the activities of the material world through his senses. Indeed, in performing his pastimes in this material world, he is just like the unattached air. Text 45. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, we are surrendered unto you, yet we wish to see you. Please make your original form and smiling lotus face visible to us and appreciable to our other senses. Text 46. O Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, by your sweet will, you will appear in various incarnations, millennium after millennium, and act wonderfully, performing uncommon activities that would be impossible for us. Text 47. Karmis are always anxious to accumulate wealth for their sense satisfaction, but for that purpose, they must work very hard. Yet, even though they work hard, the results are not satisfying. Indeed, sometimes their work only result in frustration. But devotees who have dedicated their lives to the to the service of the Lord can achieve substantial results without working very hard. These results exceed the devotees' expectations. Text 48. Activities dedicated to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even if performed in small measure, never go in vain. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, being the Supreme Father, is naturally very dear and always ready to act for the good of the living entities. Text 49. When one pours water onto the root of the tree, the trunk, the branches of the tree are automatically pleased. Similarly, when one becomes devotee of Vishnu, everyone is served, for the Lord is the super soul of everyone. Text 50. My Lord, all obeisance unto you, who are eternal beyond time's limits of past, present, and future. You are inconceivable in your activities. You are the master of the three modes of material nature, and being transcendental to all material qualities, you are free from material contamination. You are the controller of all three modes of nature, but at at the present you are in favor of the quality of goodness. Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Pradeep Prabhuji, for reading today's Bhagavatam section slokas translation. Thank you all for joining. And thank you, Sundarananda Prabhu, for giving this opportunity to share few points from Srila Prabhupada's purports for my own purification. So we'll start with prayers. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नाम्ने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादि पश्चात्तदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 5, the demigods appeal to the Lord for protection. So as we all heard earlier, this canto predominantly discuss about Manvantaras. So the Manus and the other great personalities during that Manu. So last couple of chapters we heard about Gajendra Moksha, so where Supreme Lord appeared as Hari in the fourth Manvantara of the current day of Lord Brahma. So Sukadeva Goswami is mentioning about the current day of Lord Brahma's Manus, and where already 6 of the manus already completed, and we're in the 7th manvantara, and there are 7 more to come. Last couple of chapters he covered the 4 manus, about the previous 4 manus, and during the 4th manu, who is Tamasa, so during that manvantara, Krishna appeared as Hari and protected Gajendra, his dear devotee Gajendra. So in this chapter onwards, so Sukadeva Goswami is narrating about so specifically in this chapter, 5th and 6th manus. And we heard like the 5th manu is the brother of Tamasa, whose name is Raivata. And we heard about the who are all the demigods during that Manvantara, and Indra, Saptarishis, and how Krishna appeared in that Manvantara like that. And also the 6th manu is the Chakshusha Manu, and who is the son of Chakshumanu. And in this Manvantara, Krishna appeared as Ajita and performed the churning of the ocean, milk ocean, and produced the nectar for the demigods. And immediately Maharaj Parikshit was very eager to hear about this pastime of churning of milk ocean. So therefore, he requested Sukadeva Goswami to narrate in detail. And Sukadeva Goswami began to explain how the demigods, having been cursed by Durvas Mahamuni, who were defeated in the battle by the Asuras. And when the demigods lost the kingdom, then they all went to the Lord Brahma and informed what all happened to Lord Brahma. Then Lord Brahma, along with the demigods, they went to the bank of the ocean of milk ocean, and they offered many wonderful prayers to Supreme Lord Vishnu, Kshirodakasaya Vishnu. So we're in that section where Lord Brahma is offering prayers to the Supreme Lord. So that's a background, and so today we'll cover the last section of this chapter, slokas from 41 to 50. So here the first sloka, the prayers include saying that the Brahmanas and Vedic knowledge come from the mouth of the Supreme Lord. Vipro mukhad brahmacha yasya guhyam. So both the Brahmanas and the Vedic knowledge, they come from the mouth of the Supreme Lord. So that's why we see that one of the Brahmanical activities reading this Vedic knowledge. Patan Patan Yajanayajan Dana Pratigraha. These are the 6 duties of Brahmanas. So, and 2 of them belongs to the this Vedic knowledge. So Brahmana should learn this Vedic knowledge, and also after learning, he should try to preach this Vedic knowledge, Krishna consciousness to others. So that is the Brahmana's duty. So not just learning the Vedic knowledge, but he should also not keeping with him. He should distribute it, or he should share that knowledge with others. Because there are other activities, ajan like so he will perform the deity worship or agnas, and then also he will help or inspire others to perform the agnas and dana pratigraha. So he will take the charity, but as soon as he get the charity, some Lakshmi comes to him, then immediately he distributes that Lakshmi, or he will use it, that Lakshmi, in the service of Krishna consciousness activities. So that is the Brahmanas activities. And they both, Brahmanas and Vedic knowledge is coming from the mouth of Supreme Lord. So all the Varnas here is mentioned, Kshatriyas, Vaishya and Sudras. And Kshatriyas and bodily strength comes from his arms. Rajanyasid Bhujayor Balamcha. Like the Kshatriyas and bodily strength comes from Krishna's arms. So that's why Kshatriyas use that bodily strength to protect the citizens. So that is their duty. One of the duties to protect the uh, citizens. So even in Parasara Smriti, Prabhupada quotes the Parasara Muni mentions that Kshatriyo hi Prajaraksham. So Kshatriya's duty is to protect the citizens from all kind of difficulties. So if needed, they have to apply some violence, they have to apply it. So because to keep the law and order maintained, so if they have to become angry and do some chastisement to the criminals, then they should do it. So that's what the Kshatriya's duty. So then the Vaishyas, so they are, and their expert knowledge in productivity. So that is also coming from Krishna, and wealth come from his thighs. uh, Of course, even Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita about the duties of the Vaishyas. Is one of them is the expert knowledge in productivity. Krishi Goraksha Vanijam. Krishi means farming. So the expert knowledge in productivity, and also Goraksha, cow protection, and then Vanijam, trading. So these all comes, these are all the duties of Krishna, I mean the Vaishyas, and they are all coming from Krishna, from his thighs. So that is the Vaishya Karma Swabhavajam. And then the Sudras, who are outside of the Vedic knowledge, they are all coming from his feet. Angrihi, so the feet. And then in Bhagavad Gita also Krishna mentions Paricharyatmakam karma Sudrasyapi Swabhavacham. Like, the Sudras, so who are outside of the Vedic knowledge, so they serve the other three classes, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya. So, so they're all coming from Krishna only. So we see that, Brahmanas are coming from mouth, and Kshatriyas are coming from the arms, Vaishyas are coming from thighs, and Sudras are coming from the feet. But whichever the Varna, Bhagavatam mentioned that whichever Varna we are, one is in, whether it could be Brahmana, or Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Sudra, while they are performing their Varnashrama Dharma or duties, activities, so one should develop attachment to Krishna, or one should develop interest in performing, or they should get inspiration to perform more and more Krishna conscious activities, or mold their activities centered with Krishna. So otherwise, though we follow this Varnashrama duties very perfectly, but if we are not developing that interest in performing more and more Krishna conscious activities, then Bhagavatam says that Shamayeva hi kevalam dharma swanustita punsam visvaksena katasuya. Our dharma, or the Varnashrama dharma duties that we are doing, so it should provoke Vishwaksena Katasviha. It should provoke our interest in doing more and more activities of Vishwakshena, Krishna. So Notpadyadiyati ratim Shamaye. If that is not happening, then whatever all the activities that are performing, or whatever the money that we are spending on those activities, or putting our efforts and strength, time and everything, he says that Shamayevihi Kevalam. So it's all waste of time. Of course, many times there is a comparison that, grinding the husk. So this husk, which doesn't have any grain inside, if somebody grinds that husk, they don't get any grains. So it's compared. Then it is waste of their energy, time, and all resources, because they are not getting any grains out of husk. So it's compared like that. So if our activities doesn't make us more advanced in Krishna consciousness, then it is simply waste of time. Of course, I'm talking to myself. Then in the sloka 42, and we see that other things are generated from Krishna. Greed is generated from his lower lip, lobha, and then affection from his upper lip, and body luster from his nose, animalistic lusty desires from his sense of touch. Pashyavah sparshena kamaha. And then Yamaraj is coming from his eyebrows, Yamaha, and eternal time, Kala, is coming from his eyelashes. So may that Supreme Lord be pleased with us. So we see that, Prabhupada also mentions that our philosophy is everything is coming from Krishna, even though it is some things that are doesn't look like very interested or unfavorable like that. But of course, that's what that we all wanted to have that. So that's why Krishna is providing all the facilities. The last His Grace Hari Parshva Prabhu also mentioned, am I right? Of course, he's quoting Prabhupada. Even the rascaldom is also coming from Krishna. So like that. So here we see that all this greed, kama, krodha, lobha, which are the doors to hellish planets, and Yamaraj, and also Kala, who brings the death in due course of time. Kalosmi loka kshayakritaha pravritta. Like all these things are coming from Krishna, because we wanted to be we want to enjoy independent of Krishna. Of course, there is no enjoyment if we are separated from Krishna. So, of course, Krishna mercifully gave these facilities and opportunity for us to fulfill all our desires, which brings only suffering. So, dukkhalayam. So, we can only be happy when we are with Krishna. So, that because that is our constitutional position or natural position. So like that, the fish, if it is in the water, then it will be happy. So similarly, if we are with Krishna, then we can be happy. If we are separated from Krishna, then we'll be suffering. Like fish, if we brought from out of the water and then provide all facilities, comforts, keeping on the land, then fish won't be happy. So it will suffer for some time and then it will die. So similarly, so only when we are with Krishna, then we'll be happy. So that's why Krishna comes time to time and gives this knowledge that this material world is full of dangers and one goes through great suffering, and there is a spiritual world where there are no dangers and full of bliss. So he requests everyone to come and join with him. And not only he comes and gives this knowledge, but he is also giving this Vedic knowledge, scriptures, for us to go through it and understand about the material world and take this Krishna consciousness sincerely and seriously and go back home, back to Godhead. And he is also sending his pure devotees, representatives like Acharyas, Guru. So they all come and stress and preach that the goal of the human life is to go back home, back to her Godhead, and then be happy all the time. And in the next sloka, we see that all the five elements, eternal time, so everything is produced where it is produced by these three modes, all creations of Yoga Maya. And here is that Lord Brahma and everyone is praying that the material world is extremely difficult to understand. So that's why what highly learned people did it, they rejected it. And Krishna is the controller of everything, be pleased with us. And Prabhupada quotes this and stresses on this extremely difficult to understand. Duribhavayam, like it's very difficult to understand this material world, because whatever the arrangements that Krishna made to run this material world, it's very difficult for us to understand, especially for the people of Kali Yuga, and that too people are in this earth planet. So maybe a great exalted personalities who are in the Satya Loka, like Lord Brahma and many other great personalities, may have some understanding, but people of Kali Yuga and in this earth planet, so they will not have any understanding how this material world is running. At least people who are practicing Krishna consciousness are reading the scriptures, at least they would know that Maya Dyakshana Prakriti Suite Sachara Acharam, like that. Now, Krishna, under his direction, so this material nature, the Yoga Maya, is maintaining or running this material world through these three modes, sattva, raja, tama, guna. That at least that much we know. But how is it happening is extremely difficult to understand. And Prabhupada stresses that, mentions that what to speak of this whole universe, how it is running. So we don't know how our body is also running. Like, because there are so many limbs and parts and so much chemicals or blood and many atoms, particulars that we have in our body. So how they are acting and how they are running and how this body is managed. So that also we don't know. So then what to speak of this bigger universe, that we don't know. So that's why this highly learned personalities, intelligent people, they have rejected. I mean, because they know that this is material world is dukkhalayam. So it's full of suffering. And even though if it is dukkhalayam, we think, I mean, if some people, okay, it is dukkhalayam, but still I would like to stay adjusting here and there, going through that suffering, but it is ashashvatam. So it is temporary. So we have to leave at some point. So that's why understanding this thing, the highly learned people rejected it. So if we follow in their footstep and understanding this material world is suffering, and then following in their footsteps, this Mahajanayana Gata Sapantaha. So following in that footstep, if we take up this Krishna consciousness sincerely and seriously, then we can go back home, back to God, where we can live eternal, permanent. So that's what Krishna, this Lord Brahma and all the demigods are offering prayers. And in the text 44, so here the wonderful prayer saying that Krishna is completely silent, free from endeavor, and completely satisfied by his own attachment. So he has nothing to do actually. So everything is done automatically, systematically by Krishna's energies. So therefore Krishna has nothing to do. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. Like, Sveta Upanishad, Sveta Upanishad mentions that the Supreme Lord has nothing to do, because all his energies are doing just by, as soon as he desires, all his energies are doing. So that's why there is no one equal to him or above him. Natat samas cha abhyadikas cha drishyate. So there is no one equal or greater than him. And all his energies are unlimited. Krishna's energies are unlimited. So parashya shakti vividhaiva shruyate. So it's unlimited. And they perform all the activities to run this material world. And they are all those energies are swabhavika, like, they are very natural. So as soon as Krishna desires, they are aligned with Krishna's desires and they will automatically perform. So not that Krishna has to personally tell them and monitor how they are doing it. So how we do in the offices, like, scheduling a meeting every week and making sure that, all our team members are performing whatever the task that they are doing, checking like that. No, not like that. Krishna, as soon as he desires, swabhavika, all his energies, they will do it automatically. Because Krishna empowered them with Jnana Bala Kriyacha. So Krishna empowered, and all these energies are endowed with Jnana, intelligence, and Bala, strength, and Kriya. So to perform the activities. So these three are required, any activity to be done, am I right? So if we want to, even simple activity like brooming the temple. So to broom the temple hall, so one who has to have the knowledge. So how to broom the temple, and one who has to have the knowledge, strength. So just having the knowledge, if we don't have the strength to do it, we cannot do it. So that bala has to be there. And also one has to do it, actually do it, kriya, they have to do it. So Krishna empowered with all his energies with this Jnana Bala Kriyacha. So they will do it, all these energies, they will do automatically as soon as Krishna desires. So, and Krishna is not attached to the activities of material world through his senses. And in performing his pastimes, he is just like the unattached air. And in the text 45, so the demigods headed by Lord Brahma, they are praying that we are surrendered unto you, we wish to see you. Please make your original form and smiling lotus face visible to our eyes and appreciable to our other senses. So, and Prabhupada mentions in the purport that about this original form and smiling lotus face. So, of course, Prabhupada mentions that a smiling lotus face means one should have the form, am I right? Personal form. So only when one has the personal form, then there is a point of smiling lotus face. So without there is a personal form, there is no question of having a smiling lotus face. So devotees here, we see that are more interested in personal form. They want to see Krishna's personal form. Bhagavatam mentions that there are three ways one can realize Supreme Lord. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaniti, Shabdeti, like that. So Brahmeti, Brahmajyoti, and Paramatmeti, the localized Paramatma form, and then Bhagavaniti, the original Krishna Supreme Lord personality. That original form, which has this smiling lotus face, that all these devotees, they wanted to see her. So, but there are some sect of people like Mayavadis, they wanted to merge in Brahmajyoti, but devotees, they reject that. So they wanted to see the Krishna's original form. And then in the text 46, this prayer is mentioning that your sweet will, you appear in various incarnations, millennium after millennium, and also act wonderfully and performing uncommon activities that would be impossible for us or anyone. And Prabhupada quotes Bhagavad Gita sloka in the purport, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata, abhyudhanam adharmasya tadatmanam sujamyam. Like in every millennium, Krishna appears whenever there is a decline of dharma. And when the dharma is uprising, then Krishna appears by himself, by his sweet will. He will appear and he will uplift the dharma by protecting the devotees, paritranaya sadhunam and vinashaya cha duskrutanam, punishing the demonic personalities. Prabhupada mentions this is not an imagination that Krishna appears in every millennium. It is not imagination. So Krishna will appear as the scriptures mentioned, and we hear that there are many incarnations. Like Matcha, earlier we heard like, Krishna appearing as the Hari and protecting Gajendra. So similarly, there are many incarnations like Matcha avatar, Kurma avatar, Varaha avatar, like that. So of course, Krishna's incarnations are unlimited. So one cannot count. And Prabhupada gives the analogy that, how the waves are coming from the ocean, where one cannot count because it's unlimited. It's coming one after one, so we cannot count. So similarly, Krishna's incarnations are like that. They are coming one after one, one after one. We cannot count it. But because it is unlimited, so anyone and everyone cannot claim that they are also Supreme Lord. So it has to be mentioned in the Shastras. It should be approved by the, accepted by the Acharyas, Guru and Sadhu and Shastra. So they all should be mentioning the about the details of Krishna's. And whenever Krishna appears, he acts wonderfully. So that's why in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentions that his Janma Karma Chame Divyam. So his appearance and his activities are Divyam. So very wonderful. And he performs uncommon activities. So that's why Prabhupada mentions that if somebody is claiming himself as a Supreme Lord Krishna and he wanted to perform a Rasa Leela, but Prabhupada mentions that first he has to lift the Govardhan hill on his pinky finger, how Krishna lifted. Then he can go to the next activities. Because Krishna performs uncommon activities where no one can able to do it. And the text 47, here the prayer mentions that karmis, they work very hard to accumulate wealth for their sense gratification, but most of the times the results are not satisfying. Not only satisfying, not satisfying, they result in frustration. But when it comes to devotees, even though they perform, they work with simple work, they can achieve substantial results without working very hard. So this is very interesting and inspiring. See, devotees, so even though they don't work very hard with whatever the minimal work that they do, so they get results greater than what karmis are able to do it. And Prabhupada gives his own example. He says that he came to America with 40 rupees. Of course, that 40 rupees are not something that he can use it in US because everything is transactions are in dollars. So actually that those 40 rupees are not any worth in US. But after 8 to 10 years, Prabhupada mentions that the worth of whatever the achievements that are Krishna's mercy that he has bestowed is worth of 40 crores. So he came with 40 rupees, and at the time of, after 8 to 10 years, so like the wealth, the properties, all these things are worth of 40 crores. Of course, now it is more than that. So many hundreds of crores. Prabhupada mentions that karmis cannot imagine that. So with the 8 to 10 years, with 40 rupees, and those 40 rupees also doesn't work in US. So one can able to achieve 40 crores within 8 to 10 years. So Prabhupada gives his own example how Krishna reciprocates a devotee who surrendered to his lotus feet, who would perform service to Krishna. So that's why it is very inspiring for all of us as a practicing devotee, that if we simply chant this process that Prabhupada given, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So everything will be, everything will happen without any issues and problems like that. And in fact, the Prabhupada mentioned that the karmis who works very hard, they are very fearful of their whatever the wealth that they accumulate, because so these governments can uh, uh, take away their money, putting so much taxes, or sometimes they invest in some companies and they'll go bankrupt. So they have great fear. So in one of the purport, Prabhupada mentions that because of that fear, they couldn't sleep, and due to that sometimes they take pills also, the sleeping tablets. But devotees are very peaceful and calm and shanti mrichiti, they are very happy. And here this very wonderful prayer is saying that so when one pours water on the root of a tree, the trunk and branches automatically pleased. Similarly, when we worship Supreme Lord Krishna, everyone is pleased, everyone is served. Oh, sorry, I moved up. So there is another one here saying that if we perform a small measure, they will never go away. And Prabhupada quotes Bhagavad Gita sloka, Swalpamapasya dharmasya trayato mahatobhaya. So even if we do little service, so Krishna, that will not go away in vain. And Krishna will protect a devotee. Trayato mahatobhaya, he will save from big danger. And Prabhupada gives example of Ajamila. So Ajamila chanted Lord Narayana name at the time of death. When Yamadutas comes and they wanted to take away Ajamila to the hellish planet. So, but he chanted Narayana, the name of Narayana. Of course, even he chanted, he called his son, whose name is Narayana. But Supreme Lord Narayana, he took it personally and he sent Vishnu Dutas and protected him. So swalpamapasya dharmasya. So even if we perform little service towards Krishna and his devotees, so we will be protected from big danger. And in the 49th sloka, we see that if we serve Krishna, everyone will is pleased. And in Bhagavatam, in the 4th canto also, there is a similar sloka. Yata taror mula nischaya tapyantita skanda bhujavapasakaha. So like that, same analogy. Like when we pour water to the root of a tree, how the trunk and branches are all nourished. And there is another analogy is given, like when we feed food through mouth to supplying the food to stomach, then all our body limbs are nourished. They will get strength. So similarly, if we please Krishna, if we serve Krishna, so everyone is pleased. So that's why the people, the devotees who are surrendered to Krishna, even though they are indebted to so many people, Devarshi, Bhuta, Aptaranam, Pitranam, like, when we take birth in this material world, we are indebted to Devatas, Rishis, other living entities, Pitrus, because we are taking some help from them. So we're all indebted. But Sarvatma has Sharanam, Charanyam. So when we take shelter of Gato Mukunda, so when we take shelter of the Supreme Lord, then we are freed from that debt. because they're all pleased. So when we serve Krishna and please him. And final sloka for today, last sloka for today, and they're all praying that Krishna is eternal beyond limits of past, present, future, inconceivable in your activities. That's why we cannot able to understand. So Achintya Veda, his activities are inconceivable for us. And is the master of the three modes of the material nature and free from material contamination. So that's why he's called as Nirguna, because he is not contaminated by these material three modes, Sattva, Raja, Tamo, Guna. And he is the controller of the three modes of the material. And but at present you are in favor of the quality of goodness. So let us offer respectable obeisances unto you. So in this way, Lord Brahma, along with all the demigods, they are offering wonderful prayers to the Supreme Lord Vishnu for his protection. So similarly, if we can also with wholehearted, if we can chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra given by Srila Prabhupada and Parampara, so we can also be protected by Krishna and saved from all the dangers, and we can be continue to live happily and then go back home, back to Godhead, and live eternally and blissful. So I'll pause it here. Sorry, it took a little bit more time than the schedule. So thank you all for joining today's session. Gandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.